Hey guys, what is up? My name is Justin, and welcome back to the BinkSports YouTube channel for episode 3 of Friday Night Fantasy. Gonna hop right into it, talking about last night's Thursday night game, the Giants against the Redskins. I wasn't able to watch it live, but I saw the highlights. Really impressed with the way Odell and Ruben Randall played. Eli looked like he had the long ball working last night. And for the Redskins, they couldn't really get the running game going either. Matt Jones only had 30-something yards, and Alfred Morris had 19. So their ground and pound idea of a game plan didn't really work out. The only bright spot I would say would be Jordan Reed. He had like 6 catches for 96 yards, something like that. So that's good. I mean, especially with Deshaun out, he's going to be seeing a lot of throws coming his way. So be on the lookout for him if you want to target him in trades. He's probably picked up in most leagues by now. But yeah, that was the bright spot I saw for the Redskins. Now hopping into the Sunday games. The first game is the Falcons going against the Cowboys. Staying away from most of the Cowboys, to be honest, besides Terrence Williams. I know Jason Witten might play. He's still banged up, though, so I'm going to be staying away from him probably. Maybe Joseph Randolph, because they're going to probably look to run the ball a lot, especially with Whedon behind center. So Randall and Terrence Williams for the Cowboys, and for the Falcons, obviously looking at Julio Jones and Devontae Freeman if you're in need of a running back. With Tevin Coleman out now with the fractured ribs, Freeman's going to be seeing a lot of the running game, and even if he's not that good of a runner, he's going to be seeing some passes out of the backfield, which will be helpful in a PPR league. Next, we have Indianapolis at Tennessee. I'm honestly staying away from all players in this game. Both teams have not looked that good on offense, especially in the last week. I know Mariota played well in week 1, but I'm still going to stay away from everyone in this game. Hopefully Luck has a bounce-back game, but still not confident in yet, and still until I see it from him, going to stay away from him for now. Next, we have Oakland at Cleveland. Kind of the same thing. I'm looking at Derek Carr and Amari Cooper. I actually picked them in one of my DraftKings lineups, so they played well last week, so hoping they can do the same thing against Cleveland. Maybe Isaiah Crowell for Cleveland, but that's about it. Next, we have Cincinnati at Baltimore. I'd say A.J. Green for Cincinnati. Andy Dalton's played well if you're in need of a quarterback, but A.J. Green is the main guy I'm looking at. Jeremy Hill, 2 fumbles last week, kind of iffy. Gio Bernard stepped up, but they're probably going to want to go back to giving the ball to Jeremy Hill again to see if that was just a fluke or if he's going to continue to have fumbling issues. So maybe Gio Bernard if you're in desperate need of a running back, but otherwise I would just stick with A.J. Green. Baltimore, that offense has not looked good lately, staying away from everybody there. Next, we have Jacksonville versus the Patriots. Patriots are going to have a field day in this game. I'm looking at Brady, Deion Lewis, Gronk, Edelman. I mean, that's basically all the weapons that they have over there in New England. But yeah, those 4 guys for New England will probably put up big numbers this week. And for Jacksonville, look at Allen Robinson coming off a monster week 2. He's really the only strong target that Blake Bortles has, and T.J. Yeldon had 25 carries last week. So the Patriots' run game or run defense hasn't looked too good this year. Maybe Yeldon will be able to have another big game. Who knows? But Yeldon and Robinson, who I'll be looking at for Jacksonville. Next, we have New Orleans versus the Panthers. Absolutely staying away from the Saints. Drew Brees isn't playing this Sunday. I don't want anybody there. Maybe Ingram, because they might want to run the ball a lot with no Drew Brees. But that's about it. Panthers, Cam coming off a big game. Looking at him to do it again, especially against that, Saints defense isn't that good. So, yeah, looking at Cam. Next, we have Philly against the Jets. The Jets have looked really well. If Decker is unable to play, I'm looking at Brandon Marshall. Definitely, going to see targets. He looked like, he was 5 years younger when he was bulldozing his way into the end zone last week on Monday Night Football. So, expecting big things out of him. Ivory's questionable. If he's healthy, maybe I look at him, but probably just Brandon Marshall for now. Absolutely staying away from the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't want any Philly players if I can help it. Offense has looked very bad so far, so staying away from that. As I predicted, I told you guys DeMarco was going to have a down year. I'm looking right, so let's see. I know it's only 2 games in, but 11 yards is pretty bad. So next we have Tampa Bay against the Texans. Nothing much there. DeAndre's banged up. Mike Evans is banged up, so I'd stay away from that game if I can. The Chargers against the Vikings. AP had a big game. Probably going to do the same thing against the Chargers' run defense. And Keenan Allen had a bad week too, but maybe he can come back for week 3. So I'm probably not going to pick anybody in daily DraftKings, daily fantasy, whatever you want to say. Probably not picking anybody in this matchup besides Adrian Peterson. Next we have the Steelers against St. Louis. Obviously sticking with the boy AB. Le'Veon Bell's back. All the weapons are going to be there besides Martavis Bryant. So just one step at a time. Steelers are going to look really good this week. So I'm looking at Big Ben, Antonio Brown, Heath, Le'Veon, maybe Marcus Wheaton if you're in desperate need of a cheap wide receiver. But yeah. And for the Rams, looking at Todd Gurley, to be honest. I was expecting a big week out of Carlos Hyde last week. He got hurt, so he wasn't really able to do well. But the Steelers' run defense still hasn't looked that strong. So if Gurley's 100% able to play on Sunday, look for him to have a good game in his debut in the NFL. For the 4 o'clock games, first one we got the Niners against the Cardinals. Kaepernick coming off a good game last week. I'm looking at him and the Cardinals. Carson Palmer's been dominant lately, looking very consistent. So I'm looking at him to continue his consistent level of play. Next, we have Buffalo at Miami. Don't really want to go with anybody in this game. Obviously, for Miami, I'd look at Jarvis Landry. Maybe Rashard Matthews if you're looking for a cheap receiver. He's turned out to be the clear-cut number 2 wide receiver in Miami, especially with Devontae Parker banged up to begin the season. So maybe Jarvis or Rashard. Lamar Miller is questionable, so I'm probably staying away from him. But Tannehill's played well lately. I think he's at 11 for quarterback right now. So if you need someone cheap at quarterback, him and Kaepernick are both decent options from the last game I just mentioned. So either one of those two could be good options at quarterback. And Buffalo, I'm really not too excited about anybody on their offense, especially with LaShawn McCoy still banged up. Finally, the last afternoon game is the Bears against the Seahawks. Seahawks defense is almost an automatic play in every DraftKings lineup I have. No Jay Cutler, no Alshon Jeffrey. Matt Forte is questionable. That Bears offense is going to be non-existent, especially against the Seahawks defense. So that's what I'm looking for in that game. Sunday Night Football, we have the Broncos against the Lions. Looking for the usual suspects for the Broncos, Peyton, Demarius, and Emmanuel Sanders. Trying to see if they're going to step away from the run game. They want to run the ball, so C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman might be viable plays, but so far they haven't been able to get much yardage. Kubiak wants to run the ball, but they're just not getting the job done. So still look for Peyton to look to his top two wide receivers, and Demarius and Emmanuel Sanders should have big games there. Lions, Calvin had a good game last week, but Stafford's a little banged up. So maybe I look at Calvin if he's not too expensive, but yeah, that's about it there. Monday Night Football, finally, we got the Chiefs against the Packers. Lacey's banged up too. I keep saying that, but Lacey's hurt right now, so Starks might be a viable play. Obviously, you're not going to be able to wait until the Monday night game, but if you have someone on the Packers in your flex, maybe you want to swap him out for Starks if Lacey's inactive for the game. That might be a good decision. Obviously, Rodgers and Cobb are going to be on point in this game. Then for the Chiefs, looking at Macklin and Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles is definitely going to be a man on a mission in this game after fumbling last week in Week 2 against the Broncos. But the Chiefs had to have a long break. They played Thursday night in Week 2, so they're going from playing the first game in Week 2 to the last game in Week 3. Long layover, so hopefully they aren't too lackadaisical and they come out rested, ready to go, and that's a good Monday night game. That's about it, guys. That's all I have for you. As always, if you liked the video, please rate, comment, subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it. And, yeah, if you want to try out DraftKings, I'll leave my link below. Just go to that link, and you can set up your account there and get started with your daily fantasy needs. That's about it, guys. Hope you have a good night. See you next time.